Hi guys, I'm Shmi, and today you join me inside the McLaren 720S. So I've just finished filming my piece that I hope you've seen, my full kind of in-depth look, first drive, test drive of this car, the new replacement in the Super Series. McLaren's big car, launched at Geneva earlier this year, and one that I can tell you now has been quite a spectacular drive today. We've been driving around Italy, some beautiful scenery, amazing fun. But what I wanted to touch on now is the question I know probably everyone will have asked me on yesterday's video, which is, am I buying a McLaren 720S, and how does it compare to the 675 LT in terms of what I want from a car and how I use my cars and how they fit, I guess, inside the Shmi 150 garage. So I'm going to get started. We're in a sort of beautiful little town right now. Press the brake, pull the paddle, and away we go. And I'm going to be driving this car pretty gently right now, just cruising, seeing what it's about. And that's one of the great things about it. It has these sort of options and characteristics to move between pretty dramatic track driving and fairly relaxed, gentle automatic driving. And going over the cobblestones here is a great example of that. It's doing it very calmly and nicely. And I've got the navigation set because I'm heading towards the airport at the moment. But I think the biggest thing to look at here is where this car is positioned. So in terms of comparison with the 650S, the 720S is the new generation. You had 12C, 650, 675, but really it's the replacement to the 650S. 70 horsepower more, about 100 Newton meters of torque more, 90 Newton meters of torque more, quite dramatic. It's also 18 kilos lighter. Simple maths tells you it's a very, very, very fast car. The 650S was often criticized for not being, it's an everyday car as well. It has stop start and luggage space and all of that jazz. 650S was criticised for not being exciting enough, and this car takes a bit of what was learned with the LT that was released as a track-focused version, 500 coupes and then 500 spiders, and it integrates some of that into the car that you can use all the time. Now, one can sort of assume there might be an LT version in the future, a more hardcore version of this, and that is going to be seriously dialed up, because when you put this in track, the turning is great, the ride is very, very firm, it is clearly set up for track, and it gets very, very visceral in terms of the audible sounds, the exhaust. You get cracks like the LT did. Not quite as many, not quite as dramatic. The new engine is also more sort of lively. It revs up very, very quickly. So it's a car that sits almost between where 650S and 675 LT were, but yet it's more GT capable and it's also more track capable. It has that sort of huge dynamic capability range, like everything you can do with it. So it's definitely a car that is pointed towards being used all the time, being taken on long road trips, being used for the daily commute, pootling around town, but also for driving on amazing roads like this and for exploring across the continent, around the world, all sorts of nice and wonderful places. So the steering is slightly less, the ratios are slightly lighter than the LTs, but still it's very aggressive, it's very sports car, it's very exciting to drive, and you get more sort of feedback from it than you did in the 650S generation. So for me, and I've said before, at this moment in time I have not ordered a 720S. I've not placed the deposit. I did think about it, but I have a lot of cars myself coming in this year or in the near future, so from a garage point of view, having two very expensive mid-engine two-seater McLarens seemed a little bit overkill at the same time, and I'm definitely not in a position that I want to sell my LT Spider. It is the flagship of my garage. It is a phenomenal car, and it is so exciting to drive hard, and I've had a lot of experiences with it, track days, mountain roads all over the place, long distances on the motorway where it's very noisy and firm, and just sort of using it all the time. I mean, I've done 7,500 miles in the LT in 9 months, which is pretty unusual in a car like that, and I think it's been to 11 or 12, maybe even 13 different countries, so it's well travelled as well. But one of the things the LT has, I guess, a downside of is that if you were cruising along like I am now, it is loud and it is pretty uncomfortable. It's very, very firm. The noise is sort of consistent. The sound deadening is all totally stripped out, so you've got rattles and road tyre noise, and it's pretty aggressive, shall we say. So having a normal conversation at motorway speeds with your passenger is not the easiest thing in the world to do, whereas in here it is substantially quieter, as you can just dial it back. And I mean, I'm actually in sport mode at the moment, which is where you get the sort of cracks and extra noise out of it. But we could turn on active and turn it the other way and go back into comfort and completely dial it down and just enjoy relaxing in the car. So, like I said, haven't ordered one yet, but today has been quite interesting because I can see what the car's going for and how it is more overused the word. I'm very sorry about that. I've said that too many times in this video. But it's a car that you can jump in and drive without being stressed by it, just cruise along. Or you can have an awful lot of fun, turn it up to 10 and just go absolutely wild with it. And I mean, driving along at this particular one in the bright orange paintwork, it is crazy how much attention it gets, and people just sort of stop and let you go out and look at it because it's like a spaceship. It's ridiculous. But driving it's so easy. I mean, you've got all the view around you. You can have 360-degree cameras as well. So for parking, you can have the camera system with a camera at the front, the back, under the door mirrors, to give you that 360 top-down bird's eye view kind of feel. You don't feel like it's awkward to position. You don't feel uncomfortable, especially for me. I've spent so long in these cars. You're sat quite centrally inside the tub, but it's a comfortable car for, I guess, regular using. And then if we wanted to right now, we could put it into sport, put the powertrain up into sport as well. On the ESC, put it into dynamic mode, which stops the sort of throttle lag, I guess, you get if you shift gears violently. It cuts a bit of power so that you don't sort of go a little bit crazy with it, and start playing around. And it shifts so quickly with the rocker system, so quickly. He says I'm actually going to go a little bit more carefully as I go past a pony or something on the road. Don't want to scare them off. Anyway, past we go. Yeah, so it's clearly got these different characters, and to be honest, I don't see it as impossible to see one of these in the fleet in the future. I can see how it could sit alongside an LT, but I think it would be a little bit ridiculous to do unless the garage was growing out. So we'll have to see what happens on that front down the line. Today's been awesome though, to experience it, to take it out, to drive it, to see what it's about. You see my point? It has the torque. And torque is limited in first and second. You really have to be in third to properly experience it in here. Yeah, I think the LT might have just been limited in first, perhaps, but we'll see. To make sure you don't do anything silly and run too much power through the car as well. But just driving along for a road trip car, it's brilliant. It's really brilliant. It does anything you could, I think, wanted to do. And you often think of mid-engine supercars as impractical, with no luggage space, sort of awkward, but as soon as you've got that rear canopy area where you can put so much stuff, you can have 210 litres of luggage back there. That's like 2 cases plus 2 soft bags, as well, of course, as 2 luggage cases in the front and a briefcase or 2. There is no shortage of space. It's like, I think my Vanquish is 350 litres, the FF is like 370 litres, and in here 360 litres, just to give you a perspective. Although obviously the FF you can fold down the rear seats and make it even larger, but the ride is so compliant and easy, and it's quick. It's so quick. Oh goodness me. So yeah, it's not going to arrive in the garage immediately, but down the line I wouldn't mind one of these, because driving it on a road like this on a gorgeous day is just amazing. And this car was built to do this. That's why the launch is here. It just turns in. It just turns in amazingly, and around the corner it goes without breaking a sweat. It has some very clever trick sensors on the unsprung mass on the wheels to sort of read as you're driving, read the road, read what's happening, to smoothen everything out. And it's very effective. Going from left to right now. It's like one of those roads where if you draw it on a map, if you draw your sort of dream road on a map, it would end up doing something like this. Yeah. Unnecessary downshift, but why not, hey? Then straight line. Off it goes. So what else can I tell you? What else can I think about with this? I mean, I need your guys' opinions. What do you think? Do you think I should go for one? Do you think it should happen? Do you think it's the kind of car I'd want? I mean, typically in my garage, in terms of what I'm buying and what I'm keeping, I'm thinking, you know, I'm buying some cars, some I will keep, some I will sell. So the LT Spider, I would like to keep. The GT8, I would like to keep. They are cars that are so exciting to drive and to be sort of kept as special cars. They were produced in limited numbers, they're completely bespoke configurations, whereas something like the FF, something like the Vanquish, those are cars to buy, use, they depreciate, move them onto the next thing. And I think perhaps this could be a car to sort of buy, use for a period, maybe wait until next year sometime, use it for a little bit, get a sort of feel for what it's like on a sort of more in-depth basis. You learn so much more about a car when you're driving them on all the time, when you do everything in it, when you take them on long adventures and journeys, and basically go from there. Maybe it ends up being a keeper. I wouldn't really know until I tried it, but it's sort of, I don't know, a bit just tied about the price. Not that the price is unreasonable, it's actually only quite a small markup from the 650, which, given how much car you get not that many years later, is a rather impressive thing. And I think there are lots of worries that McLaren might release an updated version too quickly after, but this car has a 5-year life cycle now, so whereas the 12C needed to be refreshed into the 650S to reignite more sort of interest in the brand, 720S is now its own distinct thing, a different category of car to the sports series, where you have the 540C, the 570S and the 570 GT. It has a distinct design style, the headlight sort of area, for example, the rear, the shape of it. So Super Series becomes its own thing. And it's going to be a couple of years until there's a Spider, and then a couple of more years until there's a hot, sort of more hardcore version, which I can't even begin to imagine what that will be like. It will dial things up to a crazy, crazy level. It'll be a brilliant, brilliant car for sure. Anyway, I have rambled on for plenty long enough. I'm sorry about that, guys. I thought it was an interesting sort of one. Just come along, join me for the ride right now. I'm interested to know what you guys think about the 720S, and obviously make sure you check out my full video, see it all in detail. There are lots of trick things in this car that I didn't necessarily know about before that you might enjoy seeing too, like the folding display that we can do quite quickly right now. How cool is that? That is like, that doesn't make sense. That shouldn't be in a car. Open it back up. That is ridiculous. It's just clever. Just really, really clever. You've got the ability to control the yaw angle of the car, so if I press ESC dynamic, I've got variable drift control that turns on. Yes, of course, I already had ESC on. And you can literally set that. I'm not going to do it on the road, obviously, but you can configure the car and get some power sliding going on. I actually know how to turn that off. Yeah, there we go. Deactivated. Look at that. You've got the door pockets that lock themselves. That was quite a funky little thing. You've got the track telemetry system, which is really clever. The ability to play back your own video if you have the camera option and see and improve based on your own lap times with a live delta count in front of you. Yeah, it's just a very loaded up car and there's a lot to see. Anyway, like I said, wrapping it up. I've spoken for far too long. Thank you very much as always for watching, guys. Appreciate the support, and I will catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.